There's a number of lines, especially the St. Paul local lines, where because they quit in 1952, a lot of them, we don't have a lot of pictures of them. We have some. And so I simply put together a PowerPoint of three of the four lines that went out West 7th Street from St. Paul. And then they diverged. First, the Grand Avenue line diverged, then the St. Clair line diverged, then the Randolph line diverged. And then beyond that, you had the West 7th. And I don't have enough photos of each one to make a full PowerPoint, so I'm just putting together a joint one. So West 7th, Grand, etc. Whoops. And we'll start with the West 7th line. Here it is in the middle of downtown St. Paul. And look at all the people on the street. You know, it's clearly a little bit cold weather, but it's not winter, and it's just there's people up and down here. So one of the lines was the Randolph Hazel Park. The Randolph Hazel Park, the St. Clair, and the West 7th Street all ran on 7th. The Grand Line actually ran through downtown on 4th Street. So we'll pick it up later.
This is 4th Street you're seeing here?
No, this is 7th Street, and you're looking east from Wabasha. You know, there's a little hill going down from Wabasha.
It's quite a bit bigger hill now, isn't it? No.
Well, actually, no. The reason is
that's not 7th. Yep.
7th doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
There's buildings on it.
Right.
And what they now call 7th is Old 8th Street. So here we are looking the other way at 7th and Wabasha. Here you see the tracks on Wabasha Crossing. The Paramount Theater is still there. I think this Walgreens building is still there too. I think so. And then you get out to Seven Corners. This is the drawing from the 1949 traffic study. And so you're looking east on 7th. This is 4th Street over here. And this car here would be a grand car because it's turning from 4th onto 7th. And then there was also the short turn loop, which went into what was then Main Street, which wasn't a very big street and was on the edge of downtown. But this thing looped around the block and emerged out here, and it was used for downtown cars. And by the way, this drawing is captioned to show the evils of traffic congestion in this report. Back when this report was done, it said 1/3 of all trips, that's all trips in the metro area, were still being taken on public transit. So here we are at the same place. If you look back, you can see this building here, the Seven Corners store. And here it is again. So that's 4th Street down there. This is Kellogg Boulevard coming across, and then this car is coming out of 7th through the slush. And it says, to dance better, go to Arthur Murray, and you will receive free proof in 15 minutes as to whether or not you could dance. Here's another view. This is looking down 4th Street. You can see the St. Paul Public Library over here. And of course, all of this today is the Excel Center. And here's a Grand Mississippi car coming off of 7th and going into 4th Street. And then here's the view looking west. And once again, this is Kellogg Boulevard and then into 4th Street. And now you're looking down through that kind of a sag that leads down to Chestnut Street. And here we are down at the sag. I found this photo over the Minnesota Historical Society many years ago, and I just love this picture. This is, traffic is still going everything, but we got a kids parade underway. Guy showing off his motorcycle. And a hand laundry. When's the last time there was a hand laundry anywhere?
What if your hands aren't dirty?
But boom. Okay, here we are on the other side of the street, looking back towards Chestnut Street. Most of these buildings, I think, are still here. There's the church with the 2 steeples there. It's still around.
Assumption.
Yeah, this was when they had a water main break, and so there's a backup. So it's a newspaper photo. And here's the same location. This is much earlier. This is one of the 3 or 4 1918 pictures that we have from the Historical Society. And the purpose of the pictures was to show the Liberty Bonds billboards. So in 1918, you can see there's still a horse and team. And this is the Grand Avenue line splitting off. And today it's called Grand Avenue. Back then it was called, actually there were two different streets. Oh, this was Ramsey Street. Now we've moved down another half mile, and this is the corner of St. Clair. And this is the St. Clair line taking off while the West 7th and Randolph lines continue. This mortuary is still there, still operating.
Looks the same too.
Yeah. Oh, this beautiful stone-faced row house, which is a very unusual building, is still there too. And here something unfortunate has happened. Perhaps there will be business for the mortuary. Same location.
Sure drew a crowd.
Yeah. What does it take to knock over a cement truck? And so here's another mishap. This is a little ways up West 7th. This is down by Highland Park, where there's a long stretch past Mickey's Diner where the Highland Park Hill goes up. And they ran lightweights on the West 7th Mariah line, and this one is stubbed its toe.
Like the retriever failed when that happened.
You're right about that.
No.
And there's no cow catcher.
Actually, there is. There is a lifeguard down here. These are exactly the same as are under the PCC, where you'd hit this little fence and then it would drop kind of a scoop down to pick you up before the wheels passed over you.
That's on Winona 10 too.
Yeah, Winona 10.
That's
one of
right.
these. That's correct.
Yes.
Good point.
Thanks, Dick.
An HP lifeguard. And here we are out. This is out a little bit before the bridge across the river, and another one out a little bit before the bridge across the river, and then the bridge across the river. I didn't take this into Fort Snelling because we had done that already, but
great picture of that bridge.
yeah, it is. Well, this and the Lake Street Bridge were pretty similar. Concrete arch. Steel arches.
It's one of those.
I used to drive across that bridge when I was going to college.
Oh,
It would be lined up with traffic in both lanes in either direction, and the bridge would just pitch and buck and carry on like that. It was a little scary to drive across it during rush hour. I don't know how they did it with streetcars.
I think all of these bridges had a 10-mile-an-hour speed limit. Okay, so now we're going to go out. Now we're going to go Grand Avenue. And so you're looking down what was Ramsey Street. It's now they took Ramsey and Oakland and Grand and put them together to call Grand because that's how people go. Anyway, you're looking east towards 7th Street. And so Grand is split off. And here's a view from down by 7th Street, and this is Ramsey Avenue going across. And of course, you can see the cathedral on the hill.
How wide the streets are.
Yeah, it is. I believe this is Smith Avenue, which came off the High Bridge.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, well, then that would be.
So that Waldman Brewery used to be right there probably today.
And then this is actually the companion of the previous photo. And that looks towards 7th Street. This turns around and looks the other way up the hill. And of course, Ramsey is that steep hill that goes up to Summit Avenue.
Right.
And the streetcar comes up and it takes a left onto what was Oakland and climbs this long gradual ramp up the hill.
Absolutely. Oakland Avenue.
oh yeah, in St. Paul.
Yeah. And so this is the only view I have of the Oakland Hill, and this is from the Minnesota Historical Society, and it's a torn postcard. But, it kind of looks the same today, this long gradual run down the hill. And this was actually opened as a horse car line. Um, and so now you kind of do an S curve up at the top of the hill. It becomes Grand Avenue, and you come up to Grand and Dale. And here you can see the tracks were also served. I'm sorry, were shared by the Dale Street line, which followed the Grand Avenue line up to Grand and Dale, and then you can see the tracks curving, and it took off up Dale Street and essentially became a crosstown at that point and wound up on the east shore of Lake Como. And these apartments, all these buildings are still there, and these apartments appear here. Now we're just west of Dale Street, and here's these apartments. And this is a bad color photo, but this is at, I want to say, a Rundle or one of those. And something has gone awry.
Like the icicles. Did they always form on the streetcar?
Well, the streetcars sat out in the yard when they weren't being used, and if you had an ice storm, that's what happened.
Sure.
Well, even snow on the roof. If
Yeah.
you got that car heated up, there's no insulation in the ceiling, so.
Good point. This is Grand, and I want to say Oxford. I think this really kind of captures the feel of Grand Avenue.
I like the lights on the span poles.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Those are nice.
Oh, it is Oxford. I can see the street sign. And Pure Pep regular, 5 gallons for 96 cents.
Such a deal.
I wonder if that kind of derailment happened very often in the wintertime.
Well, you know, because there's ice on the car, it wouldn't surprise me if there was ice in the flangeways.
Right. Car could have ridden right up off the tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's see, this is Grand and Pryor. We're getting out west. And this is just short of the end of the line. This is Cretin Avenue and the St. Paul Seminary here, and it wide out there. So the car has just started its trip. And that's all I have on Grand Avenue, you see. So,
Cool.
so then we move over to St. Clair Avenue, where I have even less. And this was just just west of 7th and St. Clair, and something has happened. So you got people transferring cars. Here's a snowplow. This is at Snelling looking east. And boy, does this show how the elm trees used to arch over the street.
Wow.
Is the
And-
snowplow being pulled or pushed? by
No, no, the sand truck has pulled up to the back end of it to replenish its supply of
Oh.
sand and salt. And no, it's not. The plow is not mating with the sand truck. Here we are at Snelling and St. Clair. St. Clair Theater, the building is still there. It's used for something else now. And this is at Kenneth, which is getting close to the end of the line. The end of the line was at Cleveland. And this school is still there. And then we switch over to Randolph, because I don't have a whole lot on Randolph either, other than at the end of the line. This is Randolph and Chatsworth. And this is where the flat portion of Randolph immediately starts climbing the hill to Highland Park. Today, it goes up here, crosses over 35, and just keeps going up the hill.
So the Milwaukee would go underneath right behind the billboard? No.
No, the Milwaukee is running parallel of this
All right. Yeah.
about a quarter mile to the north.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is the corner from Cleveland Avenue onto Ford Parkway. And this is a Norton and Peale commercial photo. And this is recording what was very likely the first strip mall in the Twin Cities. the Highland Center, which is still there. Here's Lee's, the uniform place with the trucks. And here's a car. This is the Ford plant loop. And what's kind of interesting, oh yeah, okay. And you can see the big Ford in stone there. And we have tons and tons of pictures of the Ford plant loop, but these were just two that were a little bit different. Here's one that's, you're looking east. You can see all the employees out here in the Ford lot.
Mm.
And here's something here that says Ford and Mercury. I wonder if this is what that is.
A dealership?
Parts
Might be.
supply,
Maybe.
maybe. And then over on the right, it says Street Railway Company.
Yeah, that's a coal bin.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
And usually there would be a coal bin, a sand bin, and a salt bin. And maybe they're somewhere else. But and so of course here you have the Minneapolis car and the St. Paul car, and they were timed to meet. And I just threw this picture in for the heck of it because I like the way it looks. You see it's a Grand Mississippi car. I don't know what corner it is in downtown. It's Minnesota Federal Savings, but I just kind of like it on the windy day, all these ladies with their hats. So that's the end of it.